Let's talk about the hidden fees of business bank accounts. So if you have a business bank account or you are thinking about opening one, you want to pay attention to the fees I'll be talking to into this conversation because those actually will eat into your revenue. You don't want that. Okay. So here's a rundown I want you to pay attention to. So I want to share with you the hidden fees of business bank accounts and how to really avoid them over time. So first you have the monthly maintenance or service fees. And so those fees are recurring charges that they're just there to keep your business bank account open, right? And these fees vary considerably, with some banks offering fully fee-free accounts while others charge upwards of $15 per month. We have seen, based on our investigations, that some banks will charge you $20 if you have a business bank account. And some banks may waive this fee entirely if you meet conditions like maintaining a minimum balance or having a set number of monthly transactions. And these fees can eat into your bottom line, so consider them a fixed business expense if you can only partially meet the waiver requirements, okay? Because even a seemingly small $10 monthly in terms of fee translates to a $120 annual expense. So think about that. You also have out-of-network ATM fees. So expect a fee whenever you use an ATM outside of your bank's network. These fees may be charged by both your bank and the ATM owner. Using out-of-network ATMs occasionally isn't a big deal, but frequent reliance on them makes those fees a significant expense. For example, let me just break it down for you. 10 monthly withdrawals could easily lead to over $45 to $55 in fees. Okay, so that's an important element to think about. Now, how can you avoid those? Basically, the easiest way to avoid this is to become familiar with your bank's ATMs via their website or app and use those whenever possible. And when traveling, you want to research your bank's availability at your destination. And because especially if you go for those banks that are state banks or mid-tier banks, you have to be really careful about the geography. So if an out-of-network ATM is unavoidable, try withdrawing more at once to reduce the frequency and lessen the overall fee burden. So if you were to go with, let's say, a US bank or Regions Bank, which has a presence in 15 states, versus Chase, which has a presence in nearly in all the 50 states, you got to really think about what works for you and what doesn't work. So when we talk about the hidden fees of business bank accounts, you also got to think about overdraft fees. So if you spend more than you have in your account, the bank may cover it but slap you with a steep fee, often around $35, although we have seen cases where they went all the way to $45. And these fees can add up astonishingly fast. Just a few overdrafts in a month could set your business back more than $100, draining valuable funds and actually impacting your liquidity management. So how can you avoid this? Well, you want to protect yourself by setting up low balance alerts in your banking app or online profile. You want to regularly monitor your spending to prevent surprises. Many banks offer overdraft protection, where they will transfer money from a linked account if your primary balance is, let's say, insufficient. This usually comes with a fee, but it's still far cheaper than most overdraft fees. One thing you can do also is that you can try to really apply for a business line of credit. So it can be a small amount. It doesn't have to be tens of thousands of dollars. It can be 10 grand or 5 grand. And you can keep it there to sort of help you in terms of avoiding overdraft fees. So this is a possibility. You also have insufficient funds fees. So these are similar to overdraft fees. And so if you attempt a transaction without enough money in your business bank account, basically the bank blocks it and still charges you. So not only is there the expense of the fee itself, but also failed payments can hurt your reputation and stall vital business purchases. And I'm not even talking about your business credit, because if you have a net 30 vendor reporting your your payment history to the likes of Dun & Bradstreet, to Equifax Business and Experian Business, the business credit bureaus, and then they are reporting a history of bad payments, that could really hurt your business credit score. So this is an important element to think about. And so how do you avoid it? Well, the same strategy applies. You want to monitor your balance closely. Use low balance alerts, for instance, and you can consider actually overdraft protection, either through the bank itself or through a a business line of credit that you can actually apply for and actually keep there as a rainy day fund, right? When we talk about the hidden fees of business bank accounts, I want you to think about paper statement fees. I mean, charging $1 or or even $5 per month just to receive a mailed paper copy of your statement is becoming increasingly outdated. Especially the fact that you have the PDF version and you can always download and print the PDF version if you need it, right? So this is an unnecessary expense in the digital age. If you don't carefully utilize those mailed statements, they become pure waste. Especially think about it during COVID. A lot of us were just stranded. A lot of folks were stranded, and so you really didn't need to actually receive a mailed statement. You can just have the statement in a PDF format. Okay. So how do you avoid it? Well, you want to avoid this by going fully digital. Most banks allow you to opt into online statements for free within your account settings. If you absolutely prefer a paper, some banks may still offer it for free, but it's actually worth checking to see whether or not your bank is flexible enough to offer it for free. You also have wire transfer fees. So if you are looking for the hidden fees of business bank accounts, wire transfer fees are a biggie. So basically, wire transfers allow you to send money electronically immediately, but come with fees that vary wildly. And factors like whether the recipient is at the same bank, domestic versus international transfers, and how the wire is initialed, like online or with a teller, all influence the cost. So for your small business, you have to be really careful about those costs, especially over time. And these fees can be shockingly high per transfer. So businesses that frequently use wires must heavily factor that expense into their budgeting. And so how do you avoid it? Well, very simple. For let's say for less urgent needs, alternatives like apps with international wallets like Wise, PayPal, or even traditional checks might be free or have minimal fees. But who has time for paper, right? I mean, Forex businesses specializing in low cost wires, especially for international transfers, are worth searching for if your business does this frequently. So you have to really think about what works for you, especially from a long term perspective, like from a scalability perspective. Also, account closing fees. So if you're thinking about the hidden fees of business bank accounts, think about hidden fees. So, I mean, think about account closing fees. So some banks charge a fee. I mean, you can say, well, is this legal or not? But it is totally legal. But so what we talk about here is that some banks will charge a fee if you close your business account too soon after opening it, usually within 180 days. So that's 6 months. So while a one-time expense, these fees can be significant if you unexpectedly need to switch banks, for instance, and this could make you hesitate to leave even if you discover your initial choice of bank is not a good fit, right? It's one of those things where you have to ask yourself, am I willing to go with to absorb this one-time fee versus just staying at the bank and just being miserable, so to speak, quote unquote miserable. So how do you avoid it? Well, you want to avoid this by doing your homework before opening a new account. It's all about due diligence, asking friends and family, reading online reviews, watching shows like this one to actually make sure you're making the right move before actually choosing a business bank. You want to ensure the bank's long-term value and fee structure suits your business. And if you must close early, ask your bank about the specific penalty-free time frame. So you want to do the homework beforehand so that you're not surprised at the last minute, with anything. You also have dormancy fees. So if a business account stays completely inactive for an extended period, time frames depend on the bank and state. Dormancy fees may kick in. Eventually, what happens here is that the state could even take control of the funds. And these fees directly reduce your available funds. And the longer the account sits unused, the higher the financial losses. So something to really think about. This can really eat into your budget. So we're speaking about cash inflows versus cash outflows. So how do you avoid it? Well, you want to keep the account minimally active with a small recurring payment or transfer. And if the account is unused, close it officially to prevent fees from building up without your knowledge and really just eating away at your money for nothing. So this is something to think about in terms of optimization, but also in terms of strategy, liquidity strategy over time. So I share with you the top 8 hidden fees of business bank accounts. Now let me give you some kind of methodology here. So there are a lot of ways to help avoid business banking and credit card fees, because we're not just speaking about business, like hidden fees of business bank accounts in terms of banking fees, but you also have credit card fees. Okay. The thing is, you want to choose the right business bank account for your needs. It's very important. So when shopping for a business checking and savings account, you want to look for options designed, let's say, for the average monthly balance you plan to maintain and the number of and type of transactions you expect to make every month. So this can help you avoid paying more fees than necessary. So you got to ask yourself a few questions. Do you make a higher number of monthly transactions to your business checking account? Because as you saw a little earlier, some banks charge a fee per transaction over a set transaction limit, usually around 200 transactions or more for a basic account. And the limit may be lower for some products targeted to startups and sole proprietorships. And others may charge a fee for cash deposits beyond a set dollar amount. So that's really what it is. You have to think from a liquidity point of view. So let's say if your business makes mostly cash deposits, it's wise to search for a checking account with a high cash deposit threshold before fees take effect, because the whole thing is you want to preserve the little budget that you have and not really give your money to banks through fees, right? So you want to review your transaction history to determine where your business falls on the spectrum. And you also want to maintain minimum account balances. So many banks will waive the business account monthly fee ranging from about $12 to $30 a month among major banks. So if you maintain a minimum balance. Another tip, you want to sign up for online alerts to be notified if your balance is in danger of dropping too low. So that way you have a clear idea of what's really happening with your account over time. And the third thing you want to do is you want to link your bank accounts. So let's say if you have multiple accounts with the same bank, you may be able to qualify for a monthly fee waiver by linking them together, which will really give you, at least give your business a higher combined balance. So that way, if the bank wants you to maintain, let's say $1,000 in balance, by combining them, you can really qualify for that. And other qualifying accounts may include savings accounts and certificates of deposits. Another thing you can do here is to enroll in products or services that will waive your fee. See, the whole thing is that banks want to make money, right? So when you have an account and you actually don't transact through the account, they still have a fixed cost, and they have to actually cover those costs. That's why they're charging you fees. So using additional products or services offered by your bank may give your business the opportunity to avoid monthly fees. For example, if you are a Bank of America customer, you can use Zelle for your business to send or receive money with no fees through Bank of America's mobile app or online banking. And certain banks also offer rewards programs that will waive fees to users of several products or services. And when I talk about services, it can be banking, it can be credit, it can be insurance, it can be brokerage, right? So, and it can also be credit card processing. A lot of banks have a credit card processing arm. So if you are going to accept credit cards in your business, you might want to really think about your bank so that you can pass on some of the cash, some of the revenue to your bank. You can share it with them, and that will actually protect you from those fees. So that's an important element to think about. What you want to do here is you can also try to get overdraft protection. I spoke about that a little earlier. And when I speak about overdraft protection, I'm speaking about all kinds of possibilities to make sure you have extra cash in your primary business bank account or your primary savings account. So when we talk about overdraft protection, you can have an overdraft protection funding platform, such as an account that way, or you can just get a business line of credit. So you can apply for a business line of credit, so you have a little cash on the side, so that if there's anything, the funny thing is that your overdraft protection can also come from your savings account. So that way you are protected from multiple sources. That's really good, because the cool thing is that you want to find out if your bank offers overdraft protection through linked accounts or through a business line of credit, or through a rainy day fund. You may also be able to set low balance alerts via email or text messages, so you are able to know what's really happening across the board. If you want to actually prevent hidden fees with your business bank account, you want to make the most of your credit card payment preferences, and that's going to help you actually over time. Let me break it down for you. So basically, what happens here is that take stock of your credit card payment habits. If you regularly pay off balances every month, a small business credit card with more perks but a higher annual interest rate could be worthwhile, especially if you get everything from the same bank, right? Because the bank wants to make sure that is running a profit also off of you. And on the other hand, if you tend to carry over charges every month, a card with a higher revolving limit but a lower interest rate will probably save you more money in the long run. So cards with no annual fees can save you money too. So you have to see what works for you. And it's one of those things where you have to see what works versus what doesn't work for you. But everything revolves around your operational needs. I mean, what kind of small business you have? What kind of niche are you in? What kind of geography are you playing in? What kind of target audience are you catering to? What kind of vendors you have? What kind of logistics you have? What kind of operation are you running? So those are going to help you a lot in terms of knowing what kind of what kind of business credit cards you should get in the first place. And also be wary of fees for additional cards. So do you plan on issuing credit cards to your employees so they can make purchases for your business? If so, look for banks that offer additional cards at no extra cost. So this is important, especially if you are trying to streamline your revenue management over time. So again, what I'm telling you here is that we are speaking about the hidden fees of business bank accounts and also business credit cards. So business checking accounts, business savings account, but also business credit cards. So you have to look at when we analyze fees, business like fees associated with banks, with the business bank accounts, we have to think about granularity. We have to look at comprehensiveness and really analyze all the fees that come into play when you analyze your business bank accounts. So overall, the thing is that you have to see what works for you and what doesn't work for you. That's how you're going to have control over cost in the long run, especially if you are running your business from multiple operations. One thing also is that you want to keep an active account. I spoke to you a little earlier about those dormancy fees. So some fees may be waived when you spend a minimum monthly amount, sometimes as little as $250 on a business debit card. Okay. And also avoid transfer fees. I spoke about that a little earlier. So if you plan to move funds between bank accounts on a regular basis, make sure you choose a bank that has an option for no fee ACH transfers. I mean, right now you have those fintechs banks, those new banks, those neo banks that offer those no fee ACH transfers. So you have the ability actually to save money there. So, but again, you want to look at your current operational platform, your current let's say your current needs, your current industry, your current stakeholders, your clients, your vendors, and see what kind of setup you need. Also, you want to compare travel perks. So will you travel a lot? If so, you want to compare business credit cards that connect your purchases to travel reward and frequent flyer programs. So it's all about making sure that your purchases are in sync with travel rewards and frequent flyer programs. And you have to be aware that many airline affiliated business cards require you to pay an annual fee. So it's important in that sense from a granularity perspective to weigh that cost against the travel benefits that you gain. So you can see whether or not you are actually coming out of this as a winner, right? Make sure you know if a card you are considering charges international transaction fees, because if you are going to travel, you want to make sure that you do not pay for foreign exchange fees, right? It's still important though, and besides everything I just told you, it's still important as a small business owner that you get into the mindset of developing a relationship with your bank, even as more banking is being done online, because it's one of those things where you want to really you want to cultivate a relationship with your bank, and as your business grows, its needs will change, right? So your banker can help you stay on top of the latest products and services And so you can find the most cost-effective options and get the most bang for your buck, especially if you're thinking about scalability, right? It's one of those things where you have to think about long term. So here's the epilogue here to this conversation. I'll share with you the hidden fees of business bank accounts. So I give you the rundown, the methodology, and now the epilogue. In terms of rundown, we have monthly maintenance service fees, out-of-network ATM fees, overdraft fees, insufficient funds fees, paper statement fees, wire transfer fees, account closing fees, and dormancy fees. Thank you so much. God bless you. I'll see you next time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.